I happen to have a very good rapport with rocks. Stone, rocks, that kind of thing. And one time, Gloria and I went to Ayers Rock, which is in Australia, in the central part of Australia. Okay? And so we were there, and I was trying to tune into the rock, the big, beautiful red rock out there, and I wasn't getting anything, which was very unusual for me. So then I had to stop and think about and feel myself and feel, why aren't I getting anything at all? Well, insight came. Maybe it came from my bones, because that's stone too, okay? But insight came. First of all, we just come off an international trip, okay? It's not like we were totally relaxed yet. But another thing was, we just came off an international trip. I was doing workshops. I was involved with people. My thinking was too fast. Rocks think very slow. Okay? And so I had to sit down and not just relax, but I had to put myself into a kind of a thinking pattern of slowing down my thoughts. And I got finally to a certain level, and this intuitive communication began to happen. Okay? And I learned a lot, both about me and about rocks. That's a very wise rock down there. Okay? It's a good teacher rock, actually. But it didn't happen until I was able to kind of, as far as humanly possible, match the rock's normal pattern of emotions and energy. Okay? I'm sure I missed an awful lot, because we can only slow down so far as human beings without leaving. Okay? But it opened up a lot more communication than I had before. The same thing happens with plants. Now, well, I'll give you another story about rocks, first of all. This is when Susan, who was doing one of the chanting, and Gloria and I were living on Kauai. And we hiked around all over the place. We saw a lot of rocks. Rocks across streams, rocks on the beaches, rocks in the fields. And we didn't pay too much attention to them. They were rocks. Then one day we took a course, a weekend course with a young Hawaiian man who was studying the ancient ways of working with rocks, stone carving and all that kind of thing. And he took us on a field trip. And while we were learning things about how to carve and make bowls and how adzes were done and everything like that, the field trip was fantastic, because on the field trip he was showing us how to recognize hammerstones, adzes, knives, like sanding stones, and changed our life. Because now, when we go hiking, anywhere, actually spread out to a lot of things, but when we started hiking after that on Kauai, we weren't just seeing stones anymore. We were seeing tools. We were seeing places where humans lived. We were being able to tune into what was going on with them and in their natural surroundings. I mean, this whole world opened up because we gained more knowledge about the thing. Okay? Now, when we first moved over here, hasn't been too long, I was fascinated by the plants. But I didn't know these plants. In fact, all the time I was on Kauai, strangely enough, I got into rocks a lot, but just a little bit into plants. But here something happened. The energy was different. The plants maybe have a stronger emotional base or something because of the volcano they're living on. But I just started getting very interested in plants, but I didn't know anything about them. I just wanted to. And so I couldn't recognize anything. I mean, I know, that was a tree fern. Okay, I got that very quickly. And that was about it, although fell in love with them. So then here in Volcano, actually at the Niaulani Center over there, a Volcano Art Center, why they held classes run by a guy named Tim Tyson. Incredible man. And so we've taken several courses with him in which we get to learn how to recognize native plants. So now when I'm walking out on the lava fields or I'm Even walking through the forest on our land and walking around just on the roads, I'm with a bunch of friends. There's a recognition, and not only a recognition, but it feels like an emotional exchange. And if it feels like an emotional exchange in this philosophy, it is an emotional exchange. I mean, who's going to tell you different, okay? Because reality is experience. So we learned about it in what seemingly logical way, but that helped establish a pattern that could resonate when we really started going out and recognizing and connecting with these things. Right? One of the things we also learned was, and this is an important part, paying attention. Because if you're interested in some aspect of nature or not interested, you don't give it any importance, you just pass it by like we used to do with the rocks on Kauai, why there's no communication going on. You're not paying attention to it. If you just look at the plants around, boy, that's a lot of green, there's no communication going on. Okay? If you want to, some people have pets, okay? But they don't really communicate with them. They don't pay a lot of attention to them. Right? I mean, they're there. Some people get them because they think they should. Some people just want a dog in the yard. But they don't know, there's no communication going on. A lot of times the animals get real upset about that because they live on that. But anyway, if you don't pay attention, even if you have the knowledge, even if you've got that knowledge base, and you don't really put your attention on what you want to communicate with or have a good rapport with, then there's very little of that intuitive knowledge, of that intuitive communication taking place. I go back to Cesar Millan, watching his programs. When he's with a dog, he's with that dog. His full attention and awareness is on that dog when he's with it, and that's a major part of what he's able to do. If you're out in your garden and you're weeding or working in your garden, if you're thinking about shopping or you're thinking about the children or you're thinking about paying taxes, whatever it is you're thinking about, there's not much communication going on. If you want that deeper communication, intuitive insight, ideas that don't even have anything to do with plants, but that will come to you through that connection, okay? Then if you pay attention to what you're doing, you do it lovingly, and you feel the dirt, and you feel the plant, and talk to it, because talking to it is going to carry a wave of emotion with information, okay? And the client will translate it. Okay? But paying attention is a very important factor also.